What's up, guys? Benjamin Burke here. I decided to start doing something new with my channel after tournaments. I'm going to be going through, reviewing what I did, what I should have done, and how I caught all my fish. This past weekend, we were out on a rough Sam Rayburn, had lots and lots of rain, lots of mist, high winds, just really changing conditions going into that fall to winter transition. Those fish were doing typical fall patterns. They're in the backs of creeks, mouths of creeks. Really anywhere you found bait, you could find fish. The key to this past tournament was finding those bigger bait, such as crappie, bluegill, big gizzard shad, and a little bit larger thread fins in the mouths of the creeks to try and find your bigger fish or on points. I didn't do as well as I would have liked in the tournament. Ended up with, I believe, a little under 13 pounds, which isn't horrible, but it's not the best. Found some key fish that would have been really good to have in the tournament. Couldn't get them to bite tournament day, which I was afraid of, but that's just how it went down. Caught lots and lots of fish. The fish are easy to find right now on Rayburn. Tons of them. Lots in the 2.5 pound range. I probably culled 20-something times by an ounce or so. Just lots and lots of fish to be caught. So I had two main baits this past weekend that really stood out and helped me land the majority of my fish. So for the shallower fish, I'd be fishing 18 to 25 foot. You got your bait chasers on the bottom, and then you got the fish on the top of the bait balls, munching, trying to somewhat blow them out of the water. Not all the way blowing up because it was a little cold, so they weren't on top water yet or anymore. But I used a Megabass 110+1 to catch those fish. And what may be surprising about this to some people is I threw this on monofilament. I purposefully threw this on monofilament because when I'm throwing a jerkbait, I wanted to have a little bit of give when I'm twitching, because if I twitch too hard with these really light, sharp hooks and they just slap at it, sometimes it'll just pull it right out of them, and that's something I don't want to do. Throwing it on a slower reel, 6.2 to 1. Still overall really good reel, Corrado 200K. And this is on a Dobbins 7 foot medium heavy moderate fast action, really good jerkbait rod. This is the Fury series, one of my favorite jerkbait rods. Like I said, I was targeting those fish higher in the water column, blasting around. You throw that jerkbait out to them, twitch, they just come smack it. Normally I'd be throwing a lighter Demiki rig or a ball head swim bait presentation at those fish, but they, for some reason or another, yesterday on Saturday, they just weren't committing as well to soft plastic swim baits like that higher in the water column. You'd still catch the occasional fish on the Demiki rig, but majority of the time they'd come up and just follow it to the boat, which is pretty typical of fish, or just tap the tail. So that bait probably caught 20-something fish for me yesterday. Probably had 2 or 3 of the limit fish that were in the boat were on that. Really good bait in the morning, really good bait for those fish that were a little bit shallower, probably in the 7 foot to 10 foot range. That bait's got a lot of drawing power this time of year, so that's a good thing about it. And then for my other bait, like I said, it was 2 main baits that I fished this weekend. The other one was for deeper fish. This is a Gamakatsu. I believe it's a finesse underspin, maybe, I can't remember the name of it specifically, and a 4.5 6-cent whale. So like I was saying earlier, those fish that were chasing the soft plastics, they'd really come up and just hit your bait and not get it all the way. So ended up having to switch to putting on this trailer hook. I chose a red trailer hook. I don't know if it really helps, but I feel that, in my opinion, it helps them key in on the bait a little bit more. I definitely could tell it helped my hookup ratio, and those fish were just hammering this underspin. All of my bigger fish came off of this 3-pounders, and in practice some 4 and 5 pounders, but none of those fish held through to tournament day. So this is just a really good bait all times of year. We've got a really good time of year right now for fall transition, fall into winter. This bait just hammers them. They're going after that spinner, and that whole bait just destroys it. I was throwing this on a 15-pound fluorocarbon, Seaguar fluorocarbon in VizX on a faster reel of 7.4 to 1. I chose left-handed on this one. Doesn't really matter for any reason. It's just what I prefer for these deeper baits. I can slowly reel it. This is on a Dobbins 7'3" medium heavy fast action. This is also a Fury series. Really solid rod for a lot of different presentations. Helps a lot for this underspin, this heavy underspin. I believe this is a 3/4 ounce. I might be wrong, but these deeper fish, they wanted it to go down to them quickly and just slowly bring it over their heads. That was a good bait for fish that were set apart from the schools of bait, set apart from the other schools of bass, the bigger bass. It just got more bites. It had more draw. Like I said with the jerk bait, it had a lot of drawing power. That's a term you'll hear usually for glide baits, swim baits, or A-rigs. But if you look at them enough on live scope, you'll see that a lot of baits have different draw powers. And that underspin for me is one of my favorite ones this time of year, to get that bite, to draw that fish towards you, and also with that trailer hook to maximize your hookup ratio. So that's a little bit of how I caught my fish. What I was doing in practice and during tournament day, there was a little bit of shallow bite. Caught a 5.5 pounder on shallow in practice, but didn't actually end up doing that very much tournament day. Mainly stayed deep, scoping. Shallowest I went was 13 foot of water. Deepest I went was 32. So there's just fish everywhere right now in the 2 to 3 pound range. If I wanted to stay shallow, I probably could have caught a good bit of 2 to 3 pounders, but I stayed deep trying to catch those bigger fish that I thought were out deep. And I believe they were out deep. I just couldn't hook them. Sorry, I got cut off there for a minute. I think I was saying, so what I was doing, I was going to the mouths of the creeks, really trying to find that bigger bait like we were talking about, bluegill, crappie, gizzard shad, big thread fins, something in that 5-inch range, similar to this Texas swim bait. I caught a good fish in practice on that. Just couldn't get those to hold through tournament day. Couldn't get anybody to bite. We were post-frontal. Big front came in overnight. Just complete total weather change. Or not weather change, but wind change, which really affected how the fish were biting, and pressure change. Saw some good fish all day. Threw at them. Couldn't get them to bite. I could get a few to bite, but they just wouldn't get the hook. Like I was saying with the plastic baits, like the Demiki rigs, they just really come up and just nip the tail, and just couldn't get anybody to fully commit to a Demiki rig, jig head minnow, whatever you want to call it. Definitely had them eating it in practice, which kind of bummed me out because I figured they'd still be eating it. These fish, they just shut down overnight. Some people obviously were able to catch them and catch them good, which is typical of any time you're on Rayburn, somebody's gonna have 20 pounds, and that's good to see. But didn't work out for me. Not gonna be complaining, because I had a good time. I had a good finish. I believe we ended up 18th, 19th, or 20th. I'm not 100% sure, but I was at 170 boats, so that's still a pretty good deal. Sitting in 16th AOY for that division after 3 or 4 tournaments. I can't remember how many we've done. They all kind of blend together, but still sitting pretty AOY. Got a good finish off of that. Should have capitalized on bigger bites probably in practice, throwing at or going to find more bigger fish. I'd only found 1 or 2 schools of fish that were in the 4 to 5 pound range, and those fish actually increased in size on the tournament day. I pulled up into a spot where there was 4 and 5 pounders, and on Friday and Saturday, and I came in there, and there was a fish probably 6 to 7 pounds, and a good bit of them. Couldn't get anybody to bite, like I said. Really bummed me out. I burned up my last hour probably trying to catch 7 fish. They were in 1 school, and if I could have done it over again, I probably would have gone there earlier and spent more time on those fish, because I know that one of those bites would have pushed me up into the top 5 easily. But I didn't know those bigger fish were there until later in the day, because I didn't know those fish swam out. Also in practice, went shallow a good bit, caught some good fish on a 6 cents flush, and I believe it's maybe live gizzard. It's gizzard shad of some sort, and then a just keel weighted hook. Like I said, lots and lots of fish this weekend. Not a lot of great sized fish. There were some big ones brought in to weigh in. There was 8, 7, and I think a 7 pounder and some 5 pounders, which is also pretty typical of Rayburn for this time of year. They're getting fat on the bait. Every fish I caught this weekend was just super thick bellied. that's just how it went for me. I'm definitely waiting for going out there and catch more. Let me think. How I set up in practice. I set up in practice. I started my morning shallow. Typically, what I like to do any time of year, if I can find a shallow bite, I like to find it. And that's where I believe I can catch my biggest fishes up shallow most of the time. And that's true for most of the year for me. With Rayburn and they're dropping the lake conditions, there's less fish up shallow, but the quality is still up shallow. In practice, I caught a 5.5 pounder up shallow on a buzzbait, and I thought that was going to work out. Went back tournament day, did the same deal, similar area, no bites, which, I mean, didn't bum me out too bad because I knew there's plenty of fish out deep to catch. Then throughout the day, practice day on Friday, I didn't get to fish the week before like I'd wished to, but I had to go pre-fish another lake. Went out Friday, midday, and midday we did a lot of graphing, tried to find those bigger quality bait. Like I said, big thread fins, 4.5, 5-inch thread fins, big gizzard shad, crappie, bluegill. Found some brush piles, bluegill on them, no bass around like they were supposed to be, but this time of year, usually when you find the bigger baits, like the bigger thread fins, which is what I found, you'll find bigger than average fish, and you can usually catch them on bigger than average baits too for this time of year, like this 4.5-inch swim bait, and I can't remember how long this jerk bait is, but usually you can get those bigger fish to commit to bigger baits, which is more fun. In practice, I also got on a small glide bait bite. Didn't hold through till tournament day, which bummed me out, but it is what it is, and still managed a good finish. And if you guys have any questions on what I did, where I did it, how I did it, I'd love to help. I didn't exactly whack them. Caught lots of fish, just not the right ones. Definitely going out looking for more. I got a lot of time till my next tournament. It's December 9th, also on Rayburn. So we got some learning to do, and we got some big fish to find. Thank you for watching.